kitchen. I'm Elizabeth from TotalWellnessHealthCoaching.com and Functional Medicine Living here on YouTube. Welcome. We're cooking today, obviously. Don't be afraid by all the ingredients. It's not as intimidating as it might look, and it's exciting because today we're going to make paleo bread. It's the beginning of November. I love fall. I love Thanksgiving. October is amazing. October's been crazy in my house because I have a senior who's been applying to college and we homeschool, and so this is my first kid to get to this point. So I've been learning as a homeschooler how to do my part in that process, and also just keeping him on track with all of his things and all the regular stuff. But even with all of the craziness, I've been enjoying the fall. I keep pointing this way because this is outside and the leaves are beautiful right now here in North Carolina. But following October comes November, and that includes Thanksgiving, and I love Thanksgiving. I grew up going to my grandparents' farm for Thanksgiving, and it just has a super special place in my heart. I love, love, love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas too, and my husband is one of those, we don't listen to Christmas music before Thanksgiving has happened, and I'm okay with that. I would listen to Christmas music all the time, but anyway, all that to say, we enjoy all the seasons, we enjoy all the holidays, but I personally really especially love this October, November, December time. So I'm trying to bask in all the things Thanksgiving right now. And I was looking through some of my old videos because I've done so many helping you get your Thanksgiving dinner on the table with food that's not going to derail your health. I grew up always getting sick on Thanksgiving. You know, probably I had Crohn's disease as a kid, or it was developing, and would always get sick. And when we adopted this paleo lifestyle, I remember distinctly enjoying Thanksgiving, and I cooked all the food, and feeling well at the end of the meal and thinking, wow, there are people who feel well after they eat Thanksgiving dinner. Like, it just never occurred to me that that was even possible. But I'm here to tell you it is possible. So if maybe you're new to kind of an anti-inflammatory paleo functional medicine lifestyle and you're thinking, how in the world am I going to handle the holidays? I've got you covered, either with new stuff I'm going to show you this year or old things. And I've never done it before, but I can try to put together a playlist of my YouTube videos for Thanksgiving. I have like Thanksgiving prep, how to clean your turkey, how to make the turkey, how to make the gravy. And what I'm working on now, because I don't think I've shown it to you, is paleo bread. And I did show you paleo cornbread, which paleo is grain-free, so there's no actual corn in the cornbread, but it really tastes like cornbread, which is amazing. So that video is an old one from like 2017, I think. Should be fun to watch. I'm afraid to watch it myself. I won't go back and watch some of those old ones, but the recipe still stands. That's the same paleo cornbread I make today. So with this paleo bread and that paleo cornbread, we're going to make dressing or stuffing, whatever you call it. We call it dressing because we don't stuff it in the turkey. We just bake it in a baking dish. And my dressing, I mean, I don't like to brag or anything, but it's really, really, really good. And that recipe has only ever been available in my cookbook. I wrote a whole book years ago of paleo holiday recipes, and that one is in there. And I'm bringing it to light for everybody this year. But to make the dressing, we have to have bread. So it's kind of like a quick bread recipe. We don't have yeast or anything like that. It's actually really pretty simple. We're going to combine our dry ingredients. We're going to whip up some egg whites, and that's going to be our leavening. We're going to mix the wet with the dry, bake it, and we're going to have delicious bread. So we start with 1.5 cups of almond flour. This is the almond flour I've been buying for several years now since we've been members of Costco. It's very equivalent to my pre-Costco favorite, which was called Welby's, and I can link to Welby's, and you can actually buy it on Amazon. It's actually cheaper on Amazon, but that's a very high quality almond flour. You want almond flour, not almond meal. Almond meal will be a coarser grind and will often have the skins, or I don't know what you should call them, the husks, whatever, like the brown on the outside of the almonds, which again affects the texture. So you really want a finely ground almond flour. We need 1/4 cup of coconut flour, which is actually a lot. I usually don't use much coconut flour, but it's very dehydrating and you just need a little bit of it in some recipes to get the texture to come out right. And then 1/2 cup of arrowroot. Tell me what your favorite holiday is. Do you love fall? I won't be mad at you if you don't. Do you love Thanksgiving? Do you kind of not bypass, but you know, a lot of people go straight from basically celebrating Halloween to celebrating Christmas. I'm not making any judgments, I'm just asking, you know, what do you like? What does your family do? We're not big Halloween people, and for me it's more just about fall. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. But what do you like the best? Do you listen to Christmas carols before Thanksgiving? My husband would still be friends with you if you said yes, but he doesn't allow it in our house. Now, I can listen to whatever I want in my car, right? Okay, 2 kind of strange but not super weird ingredients in this recipe. Not coffee. Psyllium husk. If you just Google it, this is the brand that will probably come up, this Yerba Prima USA Organic. It's really common in gluten-free baking because we need 2 teaspoons of this. It can add some structure that, you know, we're not getting because we don't have that gluten protein. This is sold just like as a dietary supplement, as like a fiber supplement. So it's pretty easy to find. I buy it from either Thrive Market or Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. And it's relatively expensive, maybe $20 for that canister, but it lasts a very long time because you don't usually use very much of it unless you're going to start taking it as a dietary supplement. Then, you know, you would go through it a little bit faster. And this is, here, I'll show you the front in a second. I'm putting in a tablespoon of this Lacanato monk fruit sweetener. This is the classic granulated one that looks and feels like granulated sugar. If you read my write-up of this recipe, you'll read how I worked on it for a long time, actually. And it wasn't until I added a little bit of sweetener that the recipe, I felt like, just really was where I wanted it to be. So you can use honey, maple syrup, maple sugar, coconut sugar, but it seems like such a small thing and there's only a tablespoon of it in there, but I get the best results when I use that monk fruit sweetener. So by all means, if you're never going to use it for anything else, don't go buy a whole bag of monk fruit sweetener just for this one recipe. Unless you decide you're going to make this all the time. It's not necessary. You can use whatever kind of sweetener you want. But that is the one that gave me the best results in this recipe. Okay, so this is clean. I need a little bit more. This is so it's paleo, so we're making this completely dairy-free. If you wanted to use grass-fed butter, you could, but then obviously it wouldn't be paleo because it would be containing dairy at that point. So you saw I just mixed up the dry in my bowl. I made a little well in the center. I'm going to need that. And I'm going to put my liquid ingredients in there. So I said, you know, like this is a strange ingredient. The monk fruit's a strange ingredient. These aren't really strange ingredients in a paleo kitchen. So if you are committed to this kind of lifestyle, then you're probably going to have all these things in your kitchen. So this is a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and we need, forgot, 1 measuring cup, 1/2 cup of almond milk. I like this one from Thrive Market because it's clean ingredients, water, organic almonds, organic sunflower lecithin, which is the preservative, and sea salt. And we just need a half a cup of this. But a lot of almond milks have flavorings. They have natural flavorings. They have, we don't want any flavoring. Oh goodness, all sorts of preservatives and things. And we're also going to put our egg yolks in there and our egg whites in this bowl. This is a clean bowl. I'm just cracking them separately because, number one, just in case I get a bad egg, I don't want to have wasted all of my ingredients that are in my bowl already. But also, these, I don't know, these particular eggs, I almost always buy the exact same ones from Whole Foods. And they, the shells are kind of brittle. And I don't want to accidentally get a shell in my bread because that wouldn't be yummy. Okay, so you see what happened there? The yolk broke, which will keep my whites from whipping. But if I just will put my shell down in here, it usually does a pretty good job of attracting that yolk. And I'll get it out of here. And then we have a couple of these little, I can't remember what these are called, the little white stringy thing that kind of holds the yolk in place in the egg. I know that they will bake up and it's fine, but sometimes they're kind of tough. So I grab those out if I can. All right, so we'll whip those in a second. Give my eggs a little sniff. A bad egg smells bad. If you wonder, how will I know if my eggs are bad? You will know. You will know. It is a bad smell. So we're just gonna kind of mix the liquid together all by itself in the center of the bowl. And then you just start to bring this stuff in, the dry. I'd love to know what your favorite Thanksgiving dish is. One year I asked and I got chicken, no, it wasn't chicken. It was broccoli and rice casserole, which I'd never actually had in my whole life, which makes me wonder if that's a kind of a regional dish. I'm from the Midwest. We never had it there. And I don't know, I live in North Carolina now, but of course my parents are from the Midwest. So maybe it's more of a southern thing that we just didn't have. I don't know. But then I ended up creating a chicken broccoli and rice casserole. I'm not one to go to the effort of a casserole with for a side dish. I mean, for Thanksgiving, yes, but just for every day. So anyway, somebody asked me to make that in a paleo or gluten-free version, and I did that. So that recipe is on the channel as well. But I was surprised by that one. A lot of people like that cranberry sauce that's in the jar. My men included, which I do not like that stuff. I love fresh cranberry sauce. In fact, I bought fresh cranberries this week, so I need to go ahead and cook those down. So I'm just whipping the whites until they form firm peaks. I'm not adding cream of tartar, cornstarch, or anything to stabilize them. I'm just whipping the whites. So you kind of start low and work your way up in power for your mixer. You use a stand mixer, a hand mixer. I would certainly not do this by hand. Drink your coffee, talk to your friends. My oven is on 325. This recipe makes one loaf, standard 9x5 loaf pan. You can line it with parchment or you can grease it. I just sprayed it with some avocado oil spray. And then it bakes for about an hour, 50 to 60 minutes. You'll need to watch it starting about 50 minutes. This bread is not going to be like Wonder Bread or even your favorite grocery store wheat bread. Actually, Canyon Bakehouse is my favorite grocery store gluten-free bread. It has a really nice texture. I still think it's best toasted, but you can eat it just not toasted as a sandwich like normal people do. Homemade with out a bunch of additives and stuff, you're just not going to get the same texture. They get that soft texture with some of the additional ingredients they put in that most of us don't have in our kitchen, the dough conditioners and that sort of thing. I just don't want to mess with that. And I also want as clean of a recipe as possible. So this bread is going to taste amazing. You want to slice it, put butter on it, turn it into French toast. Have it with, as you know, toast with your eggs. So these are still flopping over. I want them a little firmer than that. But you're not going to slice it real thin and make a sandwich. I did a really hard workout this morning and my arms are really sore. It's holding this mixer. Because it's paleo, it's almond flour, coconut flour, it's going to crumble if you try to slice it too thin. So I just tell you that so that, oh, now we have firm peaks. You see that? So that your expectations are not set too high. We're not creating grocery store bread. We're creating a homemade, something that's like bread, but made out of almonds and coconuts. And it's going to taste good. So I'm going to take about half of my egg whites and I'm just going to mix it in really well. Because as you could see, this is a really thick batter. And I just want to loosen it up. Usually you're just very, very delicate with egg whites because you don't want to deflate them. That's why we went to the trouble of inflating them, because they're going to add lightness, lift, leavening to our finished product. And we're going to be real delicate with it in a minute. But right now we're just going to mix half in to start to loosen up this batter. So you can see a big difference already. Okay, so now we put the rest in. And now we start folding. I tend to kind of pick up my bowl so that we have gravity helping fold the batter over. So we just have a little bit of egg white we can see there. That's no problem. We're just going to gently smooth it out. Okay, and in the oven it goes, as I said, 325 for 50 to 60 minutes. Okay, 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and my bread was done. So I just tested with a toothpick like you would a cake, because honestly, it kind of is that kind of recipe. And it doesn't rise a whole bunch, it rises a little. Mine is still pretty hot. It's been out for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So it's pretty warm still. It has this beautiful light brown color. It smells really good. Honestly, it has a little bit of an egg smell, which eggs are part of the recipe, so that makes sense, right? But not some, I don't know. I guess if you hated the smell of eggs, you would think that wasn't good, but it's not an unpleasant smell in any way. So here's our bread. Let's see if we can get a nice close-up of that texture. You can see it breaks apart. It doesn't have that stretchiness, you know, that a traditional bread would have. not surprisingly. It has a little bit of a nutty flavor. You know, we used almond flour, almond milk, and a little bit again of an egg flavor, but again in a pleasant way. But it makes this nicely textured bread that again you could certainly toast. In fact, we're going to toast it and have tuna salad on it. But I'm going to go ahead, I hate to do this with a fresh loaf of bread, I feel like I'm destroying it. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it into about 3/4 inch slices and lay these out. It will cool and it will start drying, because what I'm doing with this, as I told you earlier, is making dressing, Thanksgiving dressing, which you need your bread to be dry because you're going to add a lot of broth and onions and celery and other flavorful things. So if your bread is too moist going in, then it won't absorb enough liquid. So anywho, I'm going to go ahead and slice this up. It'll cool faster and then it'll start drying, and once it's drier I will cut it into cubes, probably about like this, probably about 1 inch, ½ inch to 1 inch cubes, about like that. It will get broken up as we are mixing up the dressing, but to start it I will usually cut about that size. Okay, so thank you for joining me today in my kitchen. I so appreciate you being here. Again, we made our paleo bread today, so we can make our paleo Thanksgiving dressing or stuffing coming up next. I hope you enjoyed this. As always, I love requests. Let me know what you'd like to see. If you need help with a holiday recipe, I'm here for you. Look down in the description box for some additional videos for all your holiday baking and cooking. And I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoy your fall time, Thanksgiving time. Send me a little comment, say hello, subscribe if you haven't done that yet. I'd love to hear from you. And I just hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time back here in the kitchen. Bye everybody.